And let's talk about this pardon. Let's talk about this pardon. So by now, everybody know that Treasonous Joe has pardoned Hunter Biden and done so for the decade from 2014 to 2024. Joe Biden has passed the edict that Hunter Biden cannot be brought up on charges, even though he admitted and wanted to put a plea deal together, inserted a plea deal for his IRS tax evasion, over $1 million. I think it was 1.4, as well as being a drug addict, filling out a federal form for a firearm. Those two together, independent and together, I think he could have been facing like 25 years. Now, like I know, he was never going to do that kind of time. But the point of it is, once again, as usual, not a surprise, treasonous, lying, racist ass Joe lied to us for over a year, said, I'm not gonna pardon my son. And if he was to be convicted by a jury of his peers, I'll let the justice system, have his way. If you believe that, well, many of you probably did believe that. The same 70 some odd million of y'all that voted for Mrs. Imhoff probably did believe that. So I didn't believe it. And so here it is, boom. Now Hunter get a plea deal. Now here's the thing that nobody's talking about that y'all just conveniently keep overlooking. Who was Joe Biden's boss in 2014? Undoubtedly, it was smooth talking Brother O. I don't know why y'all don't see or understand that Brother O is at the center of all of this. He is a despicable, dirty dog. He's just smooth in his conversation, but he's starting to show his true colors. But that's another thing. We're going to talk about Hunter. We're going to talk about Joe. And at the end of the day, Hunter was the fall guy, right? Hunter was the perfect man for the job. Hunter is a wild boy. Hunter is a wild boy. Hunter is a wild boy. Hunter will get it and go get it and did it, right? He found prostitutes all over the country, all over the world. Hunter smoking crack cocaine. Hunter getting high. Hunter over in Ukraine working for Burisma, on the board of Burisma. He making $1 million a month or whatever he was making. Hunter bringing the money back. Hunter on the phone with the big guy getting deals done. Hunter was still the perfect fall guy because when it unfolds, you can always say, Hunter a crackhead. Hunter smoking crack. We can't control him. So, Brother O is at the center of this. The plea deal was to protect Brother O, protect Joe, if you will, and Hunter was the perfect man for the job. Now, switching gears, I had more than one person who has cut into me about you would have pardoned your son too. You would have pardoned your son too. You telling me you wouldn't have gave your son a pardon? What I'm telling you is, me being me, if I am who I am, an upstanding man, desiring to be a man of God, doing my best to stay upright, as a father, an active father who has raised 2 young adults. I got a preteen on the way and I got grandbabies. The way I have raised my young adults, they are self-evidencing. They are upright young people. They are both entrepreneurs. They are homeowners. They are not parents yet, not parents out of wedlock. Again, we all know it happens, especially when you're young. I was a father at 21 years old. I was married at 21. So to be 25 and 23 respectively, and on purpose about not having children, speaks to the kind of character that they've been raised with. They're still personable, mannerable, they loving children, and they're responsible, not begging, not needing nothing, not calling daddy, can you. So I'm very proud of them. And they are products of their environment. They are products of the hand that raised them, the many hands that raised them, mine being just 2. My point I'm making is, if having raised my children the way that they've been raised, they decided to go against their upbringing, my daughter become a prostitute or a porn star where you riding and sucking dick for a living, my son become a crackhead or a carjacker, dope man, and you get sick, laced up with AIDS, you get locked up and incarcerated because you out there doing something you don't have no business doing, you will be in jail indefinitely. And that's the bottom line, because it comes down to integrity. And we see over and over again people who have, there are a number of people, I know people personally that say, I'm going to ride with my family no matter what. And that no matter what mean if your son is out there killing and stealing, you're going to still ride with him. That is, I don't respect that. And I don't roll like that. Because that's how we get misfits. Part of the reason why we get misfits in society. When you giving a pass and excuse because it's your kid. But you're going to be the same person that if somebody else kid do something to you, you're going to want to kill them. You're going to want to put them in jail. That's a double standard. That makes you a fucking hypocrite. So the bottom line is, there's no surprise that Treasonous Joe gave his son a pass. There's no surprise that it was done after he lied to us over and over again. And at the end of the day, it's time for people to be held accountable. So now we're watching privilege on top of privilege. White privilege on top of presidential privilege. If any of us had been found guilty, pled guilty, black as a black or brown person specifically, pled guilty to tax evasion, pled guilty to that federal form and being a known drug addict in possession of a weapon, you and I will be in jail, and so should Hunter Biden. That's the bottom line.